one true struggle.
Holy shit! Whew. Shivers everywhere. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Oh look, Pabu's here too. He just wants to be part of the crew, part of the dance group. He's just watching. He's just watching. Oh god. Too funny. He's just wagging his little tail.
So fast, wee! Full confidence, man with conviction. No look back. Super speed run. We going for GDQ. Jump. Holy shit! Is that a world record? That is a world record! Try to beat me!
Welcome everybody to MogTalk episode 171. Today we will be reviewing Shadowbringers, at least the release of it. We will be doing our best to avoid as many spoilers as possible. If you guys are unfamiliar, by the way, with MogTalk, it's a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to Chocobo Racing. Before we get too much into it, of course, I am going to introduce our guest here so you guys know everyone that is on the show. I'm going to go clockwise here, so that means I'm going to start with Ms. Ms, can you please tell everybody who you are?
Hi everyone, I'm Mythic. I am your local friendly neighborhood. Sorry, I watched Spider-Man yesterday, so I'm all like, dungeon guide.
Okay.
I make a lot of videos for Final Fantasy, and I stream a lot of Final Fantasy, so you might have seen me around, you know.
All right, good. And Arthas, tell everybody who you are.
Just a Final Fantasy 14 streamer, originally from the JP side, now transiting and turning into an NA scum, just like every one of you watching. Yep. Hi.
Jesus. All right. No, that's Arthas for you. You guys know who he is now. And for the first time, we haven't had Rogue on here before. Rogue, please tell everybody who you are.
Hey guys, I am MissRogueFlame. I am a European, aka or Scottish, whatever you want to call me, Final Fantasy 14 streamer. You guys might know me from doing voiceovers like "You Can Sleep When You're Dead." I am that primal. No, I'm only joking. I'm not really. But yeah, I'm a Final Fantasy 14 streamer here on Twitch, and I'm from Scotland.
Yeah.
Hi.
It would be really interesting if we did get the voice actor for Twintania on here, which it sounds like we almost did. Or not Twintania, Titania. I always mess that up. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, what?
So many people are doing that though. They're calling her Twintania. You're like, wait, why?
We're used to it. It starts with a T, ends with an A, right?
Yeah, but we also have a European server called Twintania as well now, so it's just like getting even more confusing.
Oh. All right. Well, guys, again, we're going to be talking about just Shadowbringers release. We're going to do what we can to avoid spoilers, but you have to understand we are reviewing the release of the expansion, so there are going to be things that we do mention. I will personally say for myself, I am only level 79, so I don't even know everything that happens in the story, and I would personally want to avoid as many as possible myself. And I everyone else on the show, I believe... wait. Arthas actually hasn't done any of the story yet, so he's completely clueless with it. He's level 80, but he hasn't watched a single cutscene. Is that right, Arthas?
Yeah. You know, I was so confused every part. Like, yeah, basically every part. The only thing that I absorbed is like the areas, the boss, the dungeon. That's it. Like, what happened here? Why that is there? Why we are going here? I have no idea. Really, I'm super curious though. Yeah.
All right, well, you're going to get some stuff spoiled. I can already tell you that. And then Ms. and Rogue, you guys are both 80 and have pretty much completed all the storyline, and you're familiar with everything that's going on right now. So don't ruin it for everybody, please. Do your best.
Asians kill Dumbledore.
Oh, dag nabbit. I can't even watch those 8 movies now. And also, if you guys notice, there is a little giveaway picture. We are giving away, I can't even say the name right. Corpicor, is that right? Close? All right.
Yeah.
Square Enix was generous enough to give me some things that I can give to you guys. So this is a plushie that I'm going to be giving out. I will go ahead and let you know. I am limiting it to just the US only right now. I tried to look up Canada, and it seems like it's going to be pretty expensive, so I might not be able to do that. And Quebec, of course, they will want thousands of dollars invested before you do any giveaways with them. So, and of course, I'm sorry, Rogue, European countries are twice as bad as Canada.
Wait. Can we just win and then you just send us like cash or something? PayPal us,
You know
we'll
what?
take a discount.
If someone gave me cash to give away, then sure. But I don't have it. Anyways, we'll have that around later in the show. Just stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and just dive into the conversation. We don't want to waste too much time. We just got 2 hours here today. I want to know how everybody feels after spending a whole week and a half doing the expansion. And I'll start here with Ms. Kind of what you guys feel like after spending that week and a half at Shadowbringers. How do you feel?
Pretty amazing.
Yeah? Yeah?
Are we talking about like a full number rating or?
No, I wouldn't say a rating right now. Just like you can if you want to. Whatever you would like to describe, like your experience going through Shadowbringers so far.
For me, I used to be like Arthars, where I would literally just level as quickly as I could, skipping all cutscenes. Basically, especially if I was streaming, I would do like no spoilers and then skip everything and come back later, weeks after, with another character and go through the story and then learn it that way. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time I have not done that. So this is literally my first time actually paying attention to the story, actually leveling through like 100% of the way, taking my time, kind of just enjoying it. And I have to tell you, it has probably been one of the best expansion experiences in my life. So okay. Yeah, I feel good.
There you go. Feels good, man. So I will say this too. I got to ask, because since you didn't do it before, what encouraged you to say, hey, I'm going to give it a try and actually go through the story and not just skip it automatically?
The trailer, like the very last trailer that they showed at the last live letter, it was exactly what like flipped the switch for me. And like the lore bomb that they dropped in that trailer, I was like, I don't think I can skip cutscenes. Like, I think this is going to be so awesome that it would be a disservice to like skip it. So that's when I made that decision to basically just take it slow and see how I liked it.
Okay. We'll go into that a little bit more, because I want to get everybody else's kind of feelings on it first. But yeah, no, that's a really good point that I want to hit on a little bit later. But Rogue, you want to tell us kind of how you feel after completing the story and getting into the end game?
Overwhelmed, I think, a little bit. The story overall was phenomenal. I think this is, for me, the best expansion that's been out, and I've been playing for over 4 years now. I am very much invested in the lore of the story as well, so I'm like the opposite. I watch every cutscene, I watch every single line of text that happens, and I always have done. So it's been an incredible journey from start to finish, and going from what Stormblood was to Shadowbringers has just been like a 360 turn of events. It's been insanely good, like just that good.
Right.
So yeah, I'm freaking like, I'm so excited to see what they're going to do with it next, to see where the next part of the journey is going to go.
Okay, awesome. And now, Arthas, I got to ask you, because you have a drastically different experience, not knowing anything that happens with the story at all. Kind of, where do you rate Shadowbringers right now since doing it at the beginning?
Wait, are we rating like based on the story
your
or
experience?
Like
your experience.
Okay,
your experience.
So okay, I always have multiple characters. So whenever it comes to a brand new expansion, it's I don't look forward to a start of an expansion, because I play all my characters. And I always make sure that they are ready before normal mode and for raiding, etc. So for me, expansion always has been a horrible experience at the beginning, because I'm the person that I like to suffer first. I like to leave the fun part. I like to leave the story viewing part. I like to leave the relaxing part to the end. Like, I got 6 characters. I plan to do the story on the 6th one. So I was just rushing through the first one so that at least I got a base. I can, do end. The battle content at the end. First day, finish it. Second day, finish it. Third, fourth day, until today, quickly finish my out. Next week, I'm going to start watching the cutscene. That's what I usually do it. But this time, I kind of regret sticking to it, because I thought it would just be another expansion that I played. 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. 2.0 is definitely the worst. I've been through every single story already in 1.0. So going into 2.0, that was such a horrible experience. 3.0 for us 1.0 players, going into Ishgard, the Dragon Sword one, we were supposed to see that in 1.0, but we didn't get it. But for us, 3.0 was like more of a relief than actually like, yeah, you know? So it's same, skip. 4.0 is like, I didn't dig the 4.0 vibe except for the whole Eastern thingy. So for me, it's like whatever, right? This time though, going through 71 all the way to 80, the zones I've been to, the fights I've been to, the dungeon I've been to, the type of mobs I've seen, I was like, maybe this time I should have watched the cutscene. Because this is actually really different. You know, you go to Ishgard, you have dragons, you go fight dragon, you know what to expect, you don't just fight dragons. You go to Alamigo, you know what to expect, you're just gonna fight Guardian and more Maggie Pack. Now you go to the first, scene inter and shit, I don't know what I'm supposed to expect, right? So when after I speed run the dungeon, I'm like, every time I get a time to stop, because me and Zeno and Ember, Mew, and no, not Mew, our 6 static member, we were kind of leveling together, but because only 4 of us can do dungeon and stuff together, right? So we have little pockets where we take turns, help out one another. Those are the time that I actually try my best to spend some time to like look at the surrounding, get to experience it before we go for that. Yo, let's go this dungeon again, because that's what me, Zeno, Ember, we were just doing. So this time I actually feel like, okay, I want to quickly finish my op. I cannot wait next week for my last op to start looking at the story, because I'm for the first time in all this expansion, I'm really, really curious. Like the setup, the new things they do, the feel, the usual thing you expect from other expansion wasn't here this time. And I mean, we can go deeper later when we go into more, right? But I don't even know anything.
How confused are you?
My mind is already my mind is really like kind of blown already. I'm sorry, man.
How confused are you right now after seeing everything without any story background to anything that you're doing? Like, does it make sense at all? Can you get like the gist of it?
No. Other expansion I could. Other expansions by doing dungeon, just by doing solo instance, just by doing this, doing that. I get it. This time, at about level 73 quest, when we get to the first time we meet, kind of the first time I think, when we saw the Minfilia, I was lost already. I was like, I start asking a lot of questions. When we are streaming, we always ask questions, right? Why? And then all the viewers sometimes just feel compelled to tell us, but we actually didn't want to know. It's just our initial, like, what happened? Who is she? Is she really the Minfilia? Like,
oh yeah.
You can feel like viewer wants to tell you, but then you're like, shut the fuck up. I'm just hypothetically asking myself, like, please don't say anything.
That's my favorite reaction. I want to know, you're going through and like, holy crap, what does this mean? And then someone like gives you a paragraph of exactly what it means that you learn 5 levels later. Like, thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
So that all being said, of course, I have to say, watching Twitter, watching all media everywhere else, the one thing that people constantly repeat, and we already talked about a good bit, is the story. Shadowbringers is literally mostly about story. It's why people are happy about it, why people are enjoying it. They always just kind of praise the story and how everything kind of works together to make that story even better, like the areas and everything else. They kind of amplify it a little bit. So I do want to talk a little bit about story. I'll go ahead and tell you guys again. There may be some mild spoilers, but we are going to be avoiding it the best that we can. Maybe walking on eggshells, whatever else, because we know some people haven't actually finished it, like myself. But I gotta say, there is something about the story that has really stood out to me a lot. I think a lot of the storytelling that was going on, it's the whole experience, and we know Minfilia exists. If you play this game, you know Minfilia exists in expansion somewhere. You have to know. That's everywhere. It's impossible not to realize that's going on. But before, in the past, we've had a lot of mixed feelings about Minfilia. Like, oh, what's going on? It's confusing. I don't understand anything. She's gone. She's not gone. What's going on? And so going through the story, I feel like they kind of put us in the shoes of some of the characters of how our thoughts are and answer our questions as we're going through the story. And I felt like that was really, really interesting. And again, without going into too much detail, do I sound like a crazy person right now, or does that sound about right? No?
I think it totally makes sense.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's what made the writing so strong to begin with. And also, I feel like they gave Minfilia, the player base's idea of Minfilia the greatest like redemption arc in a sense,
Mhm.
because I feel like you said, like prior to the expansion or even prior to like the trailer where they like show and they hint at Minfilia being, you know, somehow alive or whatever. Like right up before then, everyone would just make fun of like Prey returns the Waking Sands, like oh my God,
Right.
it's the worst. Everyone hates Minfilia, yada yada. And now I feel like it's a completely different story, kind of in a sense. Sorry,
Mhm.
but it's like I don't know. I feel like from what I've seen in my chats and how I feel about her now, I feel like she's like a really cool character. Like
Mhm.
you can see like the growth in her character. You can see how she like gets stronger over time, and like as you go through the story, everything that she does makes sense in a sense. And I don't know. I feel like they inadvertently gave a character the best redemption arc without even like really having the same character. I don't know. I don't know how to explain
It's
it.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys will see, of course, while going through the story and everything else if you haven't already. But we probably shouldn't talk too much about Minfilia any more than that.
Yeah, because
but,
I also want to say, right, regarding Minfilia, I still don't know whether she exists or not.
Mhm.
I know I seen her, the NPC's name is Minfilia, right? But what happened, what she became, what she become.
Mhm.
Don't worry, I felt the same way, and I watched the whole.
I'll wait for it, okay?
Yeah. It explains a lot of stuff. And I feel like throughout most of it, I was always interested in what was happening. It was never like, hey, I'm going and I'm doing something. I'm like, okay, I'm forced to kind of be here with the pixies now and do the pixie stuff. I don't really care about what's happening. I always felt kind of interested and invested a little bit, to the point to where I was like, maybe I don't mind. I need to level up. I got some side quests to do. Let me try some of the side quests, right? And so I actually did. I clicked on them and I read through all the text, which is huge for me.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed as well. Leveling, the flow of everything was very, very, very well made or well done, at least, because it's like the way that you transition from zone to zone is like perfectly ingrained and like kind of weaved into the story.
Right.
And I honestly don't know, because I watched all of Stormblood as well, like on my second character. And I feel like it wasn't like it was a little bit more disjointed. Like you kind of understood what you were doing and the motivations behind everything, but it didn't feel as like deep as Shadowbringers has. And I think they did a really good job with the world building for each zone as well. And like the cultures that come from, you know, the first being like flooded with light and everything. And it just makes it all feel so awesome when you're going through it. It actually makes it feel like you're going through a fully fleshed out world instead of just like following your own story. Like you're actually part of this world. And as you progress, things change based on what you do. And so I don't know, I feel like that was probably also what made it so strong, or why people are enjoying the story so much, because it literally makes you feel, as the main character, feel like a badass the entire time. You feel like you're making a difference. You feel like you're looked up to from all these people, and it's just really well.
And
Yeah,
good.
Because when you're dealing with from a Realm Reborn going forward, going through all these expansions, so this is like officially the third expansion after Realm Reborn, you're going through like this huge journey from finding out that you're the adventurer to from the adventurer to hero to then you're defeating primals to then you're going through different zones and all this other stuff and you're traveling across the Eorzean and the world. So then you're this fully fleshed out character. And suddenly you've got this huge responsibility and reputation. Now, you've already had all of that for years, but for some reason, when you get to Shadowbringers, that becomes so real suddenly. And it's as if the story writers and the game itself have all evolved together. So one thing that I remember, if I remember rightly, Yoshi P said at FanFest was that they had much more creative freedom in this expansion and the creation of everything that they were doing, to like the design of the gear to like everything else. So I feel like with the evolution of the story writing coming across with the character and the hero itself is like, it's perfect timing. We've gone through going to Muggles and all the other stuff and even back in A Realm Reborn, we were trying to do the feast for ourselves, if you could like remember that. mediocre was that.
Mhm.
But when you go through the story now and you're doing these chores,
Mhm.
with the game even kind of makes fun of itself with that, and then it kind of wraps up when you're doing these things, like you're going to do it with your friends and your other scions, and you're doing it as a team. But then at the end, it's like, well, of course you did it first. You're the bloody hero. Like
Mhm.
and they do it really nice. It's all kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow, the way that it's all presented, and that to me shows development and evolution of the character as well as the story writers themselves. And I recognized that straight away. I thought that was really great to see.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing about the story in general that I want to hit on is that, you know, we're wrapped up in the events that are going on over on the source, right? We care about all this stuff. They're throwing us into a world that we know nothing about, and they kind of did that with the last expansion too. Like, we're going to a new nation, we're doing other stuff, but for some reason, I cared a lot about what was happening here on the first, and I cared a lot about what was going through on the story and everything else. I didn't care as much when I was going to save the other nations and everything else in the previous expansion. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. What's the other nation that we have to do in Shadowbringers? It's
Shadowbringers? You mean Ishgard?
not Alamigo. What's the other one?
Ishgard?
No,
What?
not Ishgard. Come on, not Storeblood. Sorry, Storeblood.
Oma?
Stormblood. Yeah.
Yeah, Doma. There we go. I don't know why. I think I'm dying, guys. Like, my brain is just rotting or something. How do I forget the name Doma? But anyways, yeah, I didn't care as much about it. Like, I was going through it and I was like, yeah, this is interesting. It's nice to go through it, but it didn't impact me as much. It just felt like I was going somewhere else.
Because mainly we already expected it already. Going from the Three Nations, going to Ishgard, and then now to Alamigo, you kind of know that the same shit is gonna happen already. Somewhere needs help. Ding dong, ring the bell. Warriors of Light, please come. Done. Right? Done. You know it will be done. There is no not done. Although they did not done this time, which sucks at the end for Storm's Blood, I gotta say. We want it to be done. We want it to be get over with. You know, Heaven's Word, we get there, we know what to expect, we know the end. Fine. Storm's Blood, same shit. We go in, we want the end. Fine. They didn't even give us the end. That it has to be the most salty. I don't give a shit about story, right? Initially, right? At some point in Storm's Blood, I actually start to give a shit. And then they stalemate. Are you kidding me? And then now they send me to the first. Initially, I was like, no, this shit again, man. So we are going there. We haven't, now it's worse. Now we haven't finished our shit here. We have to go settle somebody else's shit. Oh my God. But you know what? It feels fresh. At least we are going to a new place, diving into something that we don't know what we are diving into. Although, I mean, it's hinted, right? Like that over there is the opposite what happened here. So kind of like, okay, at least it feels more interesting. At least when you go through the story, when I go through the story, at least I feel this time my fellow friends are actually doing something. Throughout 2.0 all the way until 4.0, right? I feel like those NPCs were all irrelevant. They were just there because our Warrior of Light don't have a voice. We don't even have a voice acting. They are just there to make cutscene more fancy as they talk.
Okay.
You know? But this time, I actually feel like, you know, when I go through all the solo instance, even dungeon, right? The fact that you can use the trust system, you feel like, wow, this is how we actually have friends. We are not just doing everything our own. And then when you look at the story progression, I like for the first time, I'm actually curious. Like again, I never see a story, right? My biggest question mark so far, all of you probably know already, except me. I'm still like, wait a second, how did they all get here before me? Oh, makes sense. Okay, that even okay. Wait, what happened to their body? You know, I was asking all this on screen because I didn't know anything, right? So obviously, some people say, yeah, you know what, their body is still there. It just, you know, there's okay, shit. Now I'm super curious. You see, all these unexpected things, all these unpredictable things that I used to be able to just tell. You know, you play so much game, you play so much expansion, you kind of know what's going on. I mean, this time is no different. We are the hero going there, do shit, fetch honey, go do beehives like every other expansion. But this time it feels different. This time it feels like I want to get this done, and then I want to actually see what's next, because I can't predict it. Like I say, at some point after level 74, I start to not able to predict anything. When I get to the last zone, my mind is just at that point, I'm like, can I get this done with already so that I can quickly watch cutscene? You know, that's how I feel about the story.
Yeah.
With cutscenes, though, my mind was blown when you get to the last zone. Even with the story, like, it is insane. I just wasn't expecting it, and it just goes, what the fuck? Like, you're just like, it's insane. It's truly insane. Like,
I haven't gotten there yet, just saying. But no, the other part here, to go back a little bit to Stormblood, I almost feel like how it ended off, a lot of people were disappointed, of course, with Stormblood, because they felt like, well, this wasn't really that interesting. It kind of cuts off. It doesn't really have anything. We were just like, we're dying for something. It almost feels like that was intentional to leave us kind of at that point to where, like, what the fuck? Really? We don't got anything? No information? And we just got this one thing to lead us into the expansion? And it being so low there it was really easy for us to be brought up.
Yeah, well, the thing is with Stormblood, I personally feel that I didn't care as much about certain characters because one of the main protagonists was Lise, and we all know that Lise is not Ida, and we were just like, right, well, we're completely we're not attached to you anymore as a character. Plus, Papalimo is not there, so we really don't care about you anymore. Then we're trying to get a nation of people that we know through the story, but we don't technically connect with. So how are we supposed to really give a shit about these characters in an expansion where we're dealing with a battle it's kind of off in the distance almost, whereas when we go to the first, we're dealing with these people that we love and care about that are part of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Of course we freaking love them. Of course we're attached to them and everything that's happening. Plus you've got, I'm not going to say anything, but we've got this villain, this antagonist that is just so freaking charismatic and crazy that we're just like instantly hooked. Everybody's like, we love him. We don't care he's bad. We fucking love him.
That's normal. That's normal for Final Fantasy. Look at Sephiroth, right?
Yeah, we like the bad guys. Yeah.
So I guess the other part is with trust and everything else, and I think this is good to bring into the story conversation here because, you know, I wanted to do the dungeons with trust. Like I was like, I just went through all these cutscenes and we're here together. They're just waiting. They're like, we're gonna go in. You know, I'm like, yeah, come on, buddy. And then we go in and we beat the dungeon together. And of course, they're good. They're better than 90% of the players that are out there.
Well, I went through with the trust and I killed one of them, and it was hilarious because her response was, "Well, that was embarrassing."
Was it Ishtola?
It was, yeah.
She died so much from mine, and like some of the bosses, I don't know why. She just didn't avoid some things. I don't know if that was intentional.
I saw a really funny screenshot though. You know, the dungeon end, Alice was dead on the ground, and then Elfinot is like, "I'm glad no one is hurt." And Alice's dead body was right in front of Elfinot. Yeah. I saw that screenshot. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I mean, like I think like a lot of people were very hesitant about the trust system too. They're like, oh, why would I want turn this into a single player game? Yeah, I mean, honestly, like going through the MMO, it felt like this expansion felt kind of like a single player game, leveling up and going through the story. But I was more invested in that and less invested in some tool that was screaming at me about not speed running. All right, and you could
when I do like I said earlier, we were leveling 6% together, right? There was some point, right, when they're like, oh, let's get ready for the dungeon. There was a few instances I kind of feel like just telling them, you know what, can I just go in and do with trust one time? Like, I want to see how it feels like. Play with plays, just speed running, efficiency. It's all, man. I want to see one time, like I said, right? All the expansion, we never really fight with the NPCs, or the NPC never felt like a presence. This time I want to like, how does it feel like? And I wasn't disappointed. Like you said, when I go in and do some of the dungeon, right? Although it takes me about 25-30 minutes, I still feel, dude, this is better than me diving into PF or DF. And then, like yesterday, I did the 79 dungeon. It took 45 minutes. I don't even know how. If I go in with NPC, probably I went 45 minutes. The tanks were single pulling. The healer is not DPSing.
I single pull with the trust. Because you kind of have to, as a tank, I think. You have to single pull. You could probably trick it to do a double pull, but I think that's what's happening is a lot of tanks are used to doing it with trust, and they just do the single pulls and they get through it. But I don't feel bad about it, because what are NPCs going to yell at me?
Oh, okay. And then I met another JP White Mage with 2 other DPS. They say it's their first time here. They said it's their first time here. We did the 77 dungeon. It took us 35 minutes. Every single boss, they died. it's their first time here. I have no problems with that. Why don't you guys use the trust system then? If you are first time, if you're first time and you want to watch cutscene, why don't you go to trust? You watch your bloody cutscene, and then you learn the fight and not grieve the others. Again. Oh man, you shouldn't. These new players want an actual MMO player. What you're trying to tell this place? So I get it. But now you have this system in place. Why don't people use it? Because they are amazing. I would use it. But why don't people use it? I mean, yeah. Okay.
So I'll say this. There is the issue of, you have someone that you want to do the dungeon with, but you have to do it with other people too. Like, you can't do 2 trust, right? You can just do all or nothing. And so I think there's a lot of situations where that's happening. But funny enough, that said, I was at the 79 dungeon, and me and my wife, Kurt, she was at the same area that I was. And we're like, well, we unlocked it. You want to go into the dungeon together? He's like, I kind of want to just do it with trust at first. And so we both just did it the first time with trust separately, and we're content and happy with it.
Yeah. It was fun. It's different. It was really fun. I like it. Initially, I had a lot of reserve regarding the trust system. Based on what we saw. Based on Squadron, we have past experience. But this one, they did a good job. Like you said, they are better than a lot of players, and
Absolutely.
I can definitely see them improve it. Like, you were saying as a tech, you can pull everything. Your Ranger is the best healer in the world.
He is.
You will never die.
Well, you have to do it. You have to run ahead and come back.
AOE. So I think they can improve on that.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid they do that. Otherwise,
they want to lock it. They have to lock it down. They have to make it to where it's not. Yeah. There's no way that you can be more efficient doing it with trust than doing it with other people. Because then why would you ever do it with other people?
Exactly. So I think they need to find a middle ground. And I think this current version works as a middle ground. So, yeah.
And I'm happy with it. I recommend everybody. And again, it feels like I'm going through a single story. It's funny. You don't really have to do anything with other players until you do the trials. And then you're like, oh shit, what do I have to worry about here? What do I have to? And they come in and they're like, hey, first time, I don't care, I'm pulling. This is the experience. We don't know. I want everybody to go in not knowing anything about what we're doing and just clear it because it's normal mode stuff, right? You don't need to think about it. You can be like, oh, we died. Okay, well, hey guys, we died because of this, and then you clear it the second time. I hate that thing where you're just sitting there and you're like, hey, what do I need to know? Fuck it. Fuck it. That's part of the experience. Death is good. Because there's the one complaint I have, and it's not really a complaint. I kind of understand it. The game is really easy to go through. Shadowbringers is super easy to get to the very end and go through all the story. There is not anything in the game that is challenging. Except, there is, right? You'd be like, oh, now I know that mechanic, and you have no problem with it again. And I don't know if that's really a bad thing because, again, everybody's just absorbing the story. They don't care about the challenges or anything else. They just want to read through the story and enjoy it and be a part of it. But how did you guys feel about that, knowing that you could go through almost all the content with very little difficulty or any challenges at all? And I guess, Ms., I'll start with you since I haven't heard from you recently.
So do you mean like just the entire leveling
the difficulty
process?
Right, not having there just not being a real difficult situation through you, or was there anything that stood out and you're like, wow, this was challenging while I was leveling up all the way to 80?
So I definitely encountered new expansion syndrome from a number of people.
Okay.
Myself included. So what I mean by that is when you go from vested slot and like pulling things all at once, then you go into the first instance, and then you go and you have a tank that, like me, would try to pull literally the entire first, whatever, all the way to the gate, and your healer can't keep up with you, or you don't have your proper cooldowns that you're used to, and like just the slight little changes that make you realize, oh crap, like it humbles you a bit and brings you back down to earth, and you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't like be such a crazy person when I pull or whatever. So that's like probably the most
just so playing with other people.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
If I had a Ryanje, well, maybe it would have been a different story.
Easy.
But yeah, no, like I think that's probably the only thing. I think and this isn't really like difficulty, it's more just like annoyance in a sense. Like if you are trying to save like the way I leveled, for example, is doing basically only main story and the blue quests to get flying as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And then if I reached leveling caps or whatever, I would go back and do side quests. So for me, that's only because I like to fly and I don't like running around on the ground. So if I can do side quests while flying, that's like bonus for me. But the problem is I feel like if you're trying to save side quests, even for like other jobs for you to level, because we're not going to get New Game Plus until like 5.1, right? So I was like actively trying to save side quests. And so I kept hitting these leveling walls and it was like really annoying. So that's probably like the only thing I didn't really like about the whole leveling experience. And to me, that's kind of like a difficulty.
Okay, the grind.
You know, it's impeding my enjoyment of the actual story because you would hit like it would be an amazing story, and then you'd hit this wall, and you're just like, I want to know more. Like I want to keep going, and then you just have to like stop and like go do some chores, and then
baits or dungeons. That's really it. Yeah. I'll say that I have had rusted experience the entire leveling process, so I had to deal with that a little bit less than everyone else so far.
Yeah, I think if you take it like at a reasonable pace, how they would expect the average person to play, it's not bad. But if you, I think, are playing any more than like 8 hours a day, then you're gonna to those walls. If you're a fat, sweaty nerd, you know.
Yeah, of course. We're all fat, sweaty nerds here. So the other thing, I guess, going into the story a little bit more, we're going into the leveling process almost here, I guess is almost a good transition, but kind of wrap up a little bit on the story. Let's do an in rating on your story without any other context or anything else. Just if you had to rate this over all games, right? Not just, you know, MMOs, just all games, this experience leveling from 70 to 80. What is your rating of your experience in Shadowbringers? And I'll start with Rogue here.
Leveling? I would say 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
Very different.
Not leveling, not leveling, just the game overall.
Game in general?
Yeah.
14 out of 10. 14,
okay. Perfect. Arthas?
Wait, the game? I thought we were talking about the leveling.
No, just, we're going into leveling. I felt like we were starting to step over, but we didn't finish up with story stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess, story. Let's go with story. So, Rogue, we still 14 out of 10 with story?
I mean, if you ask me story, okay. I mean,
yeah, come on, just story.
I mean, I don't know anything about the story, but I'm just based on everybody's reaction. I mean, I haven't seen a single negative yet about Shadowbringer. Okay, maybe one or two, like anything major.
I've seen a couple, but it's just whiny brats trying to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Just aside from those, one or two, right?
Have you heard?
They're literally not saying anything except for, everybody's just in this honeymoon period where they're like, it's a new expansion, I'm happy. They're just saying in general, it's not that great, and that's all they're saying. They're
like
not
the Debbie Downer people like
the people who want to be different.
Like people who says that what's the difference between these and the previous? I never played before, I stopped here, why would I want to come back in? Looks like the same shit. I mean, people don't play the game, right? I mean, why the fuck do you want to say anything? Like, do you think we give a shit? Oh shit, you're right. Fuck, man, let me quit the game. No. What you play now? Maple Story 2? Well, can I join? Like, no. Like, this is what I mean. Like, these people obviously don't matter. What I'm saying is like people who care the game, people who played everything, people who went through everything, mostly positive.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I do have a complaint.
Okay.
Open world battle team. That is my only disappointment. Now, it is a hit or miss. There is no grow to love it. There's no like it at first. The battle open world BGM is my only complaint. Okay. Everything else so far has been perfect. Even the primals. Maybe we'll come back later for the primals.
I will
overall,
say,
I think this expansion is pretty good. Yeah, the best expansion I had.
Really quick, just on the battle theme. I know we're not into music yet, but it's been stated 1,000 times over and over, and people have turned off their battle music and everything else because of it. I love it as a song. I love it for what it is, and I feel like if it was like a boss theme, it'd be great. But being turned on and off and on and off, that's what kills it, right?
Yeah, true.
It impedes, it interrupts kind of what you're already in with the zone music and everything else. I love it individually, though.
Yeah.
I actually really love it. Like,
okay, now when you guys put it like that, it makes sense. Because for me, the reason why I hate it is like, oh my god, what is that? What is that fairy? The
very peaceful background music.
Yo, I love that one. That one makes me feel like I'm an Italian restaurant eating lasagna and pizza. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. And then a mob aggro me. I'm like,
yeah.
How can I turn it off? Maybe that's why I hate it, I guess.
Ms., you'll remember this when we were ever at the media tour. They had that in the background. That was the music they played over and over and over again in just the background. And I took my headset off and I didn't do anything. I sat there. I was just like, this is nice. I want to go get a Coke or something and sit here and just kind of relax.
Right, yeah.
It was good. Ms., you were saying something there a second ago.
Oh, I'm like obsessed with that battle theme. I like sing it. I go to the shower. Like I will literally just sing it in the shower because it's been, I guess, obviously because we hear it so much, especially the worst part is I would level with people that were like across the zone from me and they're aggroing mobs like forever away from me. And I'm still hearing the battle theme. And so that, yes, I can see how that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
The theme itself, like the song itself, I absolutely love. And so especially when the vocals kick in, I literally, anytime I hear it, I just want to burst into song, and I am not at all the best singer ever.
Wow, I think maybe I didn't even hear enough of it. Then like it was just very disruptive for me.
Yeah.
Here, there, stops.
Yeah, that's the
and
issue.
also my mount BGM as well. I had to turn off my mount BGM.
Oh, of course. I heard the Chuckabah song 5 times in a row, and I turned it off. I haven't had it on in years. Just like you just can't do it anymore. But yeah, all right. We were doing story ratings here. Ms., a story rating real quick.
Man, like 27 out of 10, I'm sure.
Okay. I had to one up Rogue here. I see.
I really enjoyed it. No, I mean, like, I don't mean to.
No, just.
I don't know if it's because it's like the first one that I've like physically fully 100% paid attention, and I was like excited going in, and like, I don't know, every expectation I had blown out of the water. So I don't know if it's just like that bias, that like honeymoon phase or whatever, but I have to say, like, this is probably of every MMO that I've ever played, my favorite expansion that I've ever had to go through.
Yeah.
You know, when I was doing when I was doing Heavensward and Storm's Blood, right? After the first, I didn't even do 24 hours when I was doing Heavensward and Storm's Blood. Okay, Heavensward has got some server problem. Storm's Blood has got Rauban issue, but when I was doing those 2 expansion, right? When I was streaming the first day, right? Again, back to the beginning when I was saying how I usually treat an opening of an expansion is a chore for me because of the ops that I have. I dual box Heavensward leveling. Me and my wife, I alternate tab, MSQ, side quest, I alternate, I / follow. It was a chore for me. But this time, for some reason in Shadowbringer, right? I actually, I don't remember myself streaming 24 hours ever. For the first time, I actually streamed 24 hours. I streamed like 25 hours, and I wasn't feeling tired. And when I slept for 6 hours, right, during Storm's Blood and Heavensward, right, I didn't feel like waking up to want to do it. I'm just like, wake up, get breakfast.
Wake up, go to work,
There's still 1 month before Savage. Maybe tonight, my usual stream time, which is like, I wake up at 9 a.m., maybe 10 p.m., so 13 hours later, then maybe I will carry on. I mean, what's there to rush? I don't care. But this time, right, I actually wake up. I just don't know why. I just want to play the game. I just want to
see what happens next.
I just want to see what happens next. Even though I don't watch the story, I want to see what happens next. I'm like, okay, I done this. I want to see it again. I want to do it again. I can't wait to do it again. I just wake up and play. When I'm off streaming, I tell myself, I've been streaming 12 hours. You know what? Maybe I'll just do 1 or 2 more MSQ. Maybe take about 30 more minutes, watch some streams, cool down, end up playing another 6 more hours. So it's like, I don't know why, it just have this, it just makes me feel like wanting to play Shadowbringer, and I didn't feel that when I was doing Heavensward and Storm's. I don't know why. Maybe maybe how it feels.
No, it's just you're interested. You're genuinely interested in what happens next and what you're going to see next, and you're excited for it. I feel like the game definitely did that for everybody, and the whole process going through, like we were talking about, the whole leveling process and everything else. They did a handful of things in there. I love how they kept bringing back the little aiming thing, aim and shoot. It's just like, hey, can we throw it back in here again?
BR is coming.
Because every single time it was just like, all right, I'll scope around, I'll look, and they like it, throwing that mechanic in there. I don't know why, but I mean, it's something different. I guess it's refreshing. You're like, I'm not doing the same 1, 2, 3 and going through and everything else. And I feel it was nice to have it every once in a while, and I'm glad they didn't do it constantly. Like, I think it's like 3 or 4 times I've experienced it so far. And there's other little things that they have you do, like those little filler quests that everyone talks about. Hey, you got to go do this one little thing on the side. They didn't feel bad to do because they're quick. They're so quick and easy. And if you're reading the text that you actually like, okay, yeah, I'll help you go get this bucket of water or whatever else you're going to do. Oh, I'm timed. I got to get over there in 2 minutes to carry this bucket of water or it's going to fall. All right, cool. And so you do it. And it still feels good because you're invested in what's going on around you. And I think literally that story building the entire expansion is what made us not care if some of these things were like little tedious tasks because you actually felt like you're in the story helping, right?
Okay.
No, not you, Arthas. God damn it.
Oh, really?
No, go. It's okay.
Okay, I mean, I saw someone talking about something that make in chat that makes a good point. And since you're just touching on it, might as well bundle it together. Like,
sure.
For me, right, I would love the MSQ to be optional. Like optional, not as in don't have to do. That's not what I mean. Optional as in I do it when I want. When I really want, I want to know. I want to. It's not like I don't want to do type of optional, but not now. Like not now because there are some things in chat that people say that makes me sometimes don't feel like doing the next MSQ. Like some of the role-playing battles are too long. You know, there's this certain guy using the gun break fighting this certain guy with a dragon, right? That fight, holy shit, it doesn't need to be that long. There are that similar level side quest, by the way, requires you to go to in an area, makes you put smoke bomb at 3 spots, and then makes you have to click 7 spots, and then each spot spawn 4 monsters. That is too much. I don't mind it if it's something optional. Like if that is a side quest, I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole.
So okay? I want to talk about that a little bit because that is something that people have complained about. It's like some of the battles, the story battles, felt like they were dragging out, like they're really long and they're like exhausting. But that actually, in some people's defense of that, that's part of it. You're supposed to be exhausted, right? You're supposed to feel like, man, this was kind of rough. This was frustrating to do. It wasn't easy. And so you see a character all bloody and everything afterwards. You're like, yeah, I'm mentally bloody from having to go do all this stuff. Like you're kind of beat up. And I think that's actually not a horrible thing. And I'll relate this to a story that I read a little bit about. You guys may have never played it. Zelda Wind Waker. It was a Zelda a long time ago. They made it to where you had to travel through an ocean with a boat for a long period of time. And you just sat there and you're going from island to island. And the whole point was to make you feel like you had to travel, like that was an exhaustive experience to go through. And so it was Miz. Whether you admit it or not, they already made an HD version. No. I think they're making another version of it.
No, that's different. That is different. If you have a destination to fulfill with your means, that is fine. I'm talking about the fight. You never watch
Okay.
Endgame spoiler is later. You never watch Captain America fight Thanos for like 15 minutes straight, right? You never see Iron Man shoot beams for like 15 minutes straight. You never see Spider-Man fight a villain for 15 minutes straight. When you watch Hong Kong drama, you don't see a Kung Fu master fight another villain for 10 episodes. Okay? That's why some things need to be fresh. That specific RP battle I'm not saying it can't be long. I timed it. I stopped watching it. Okay? It took me about 12-13 minutes for it. And 12-13 minutes, if it's a long battle, if you need me to press 10-15 buttons, you need me to fight something and then do this and then do that and then active time event, 15 minutes,
sure.
Fine. You want me to press 15 minutes? I'm sorry. I love the idea. I love the story. I love the conversing during the fight. 15 minutes.
Okay. Now, I'll say this, and again, the whole expansion was not difficult to do. Like, the whole process, it was easy. Now, if you put that on its head, and for that, you're like, here's 15 buttons, you got to press it in a certain order, and if you mess up, you got to start over again. I mean, you could make it a short battle, right? But then you'd be like, well, I don't really care. That was just like another battle. I'm really strong. This was nothing. It wasn't challenging. I went through it really easy. And so that's just my defense. I mean, we can definitely disagree on that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely disagree. I mean, obviously, we all have, I mean, like I said, that's my complaint. I'm not saying that it's bad. And another thing, those MSQ side quests that requires you to do dialogue, they should have an impact. Some of the choices that I make, bang, retry, bang, retry, bang. I just try an error. Now, what I feel they should have done, if you fuck it up, go back and gather the logs again. If you fuck it up, climb the 4 pyramid again. If that's the case, I will give a shit. The fact that I just choose and then fail, certain Kote just fall, and then we do it again 4 times. Seriously, like I would love punish me. Punish me. If I do it wrong, please. I'm sorry. Certain character, please take a whip and whip me. Go back up and do it again. I don't want it to be just choose the option again. You know what I mean?
Ms. her lights came up, so she has an idea going on. So Ms.
No, whatever reason, my lights will like randomly turn on and off again. I don't know why. I think it's because they're like USB instead of in the wall.
Oh, okay. What's your thoughts, Ms., on this and the kind of the story battles that were going to solo story battles and them being kind of long? How'd you feel about it?
I do agree that some of them were long. Sorry, my mic is doing a weird thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's just I think the ones where you're role playing. Can I say that? Is that spoiler?
No, that's good.
So the role playing MSQ battles I thought were a little long. It's not so bad when you have your own character and you can do whatever and like. You can practice your rotation that that you just got or whatever. But when you only have like 1 button or 2 buttons and you're fighting for 12 minutes, that's a problem. So that is probably the one thing that I would agree with was probably the least enjoyable thing, especially if you got to like 10 minutes in and then DC'd. You would literally
oh my god,
do it again, right? Like, or even just wiping at the very end. Like that's just you're.
Oh, your mic completely cut there. I don't know what it was going on, but
I think the cat like touching it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, she's the worst.
It's fine.
But for the most part, I don't know. Like, I like that they were kind of spaced apart. Like, we didn't really have to do too many, right? And then the ones that I don't know. I guess the ones that counted, where you're not really role playing, you're playing your own character. Those ones felt a lot more epic.
Okay.
And I like that, I guess. But yeah, I get why they do it. It makes sense from like a storytelling point of view, but they could definitely do with like adjusting maybe the time.
How long it takes. Okay.
Yeah, for
sure. Rogue.
The particular fight that we're talking about is incredibly long and it does feel really long. I kind of justify it in my own head is because of who it is that we're role playing and the fact that they are not us and they're not the hero. So yes, they're powerful, but they're not as powerful as we are. So from a lore perspective, I'm kind of giving them a pass on it. But yeah, I did definitely feel it was very long. But I agree that when we were doing the fights, we did feel more epic. But again, I do think that's just because we're the hero and it's supposed to be. So from a storytelling perspective, it felt right, even though it kind of bothered me. I think for me, it wasn't like super obvious what I was just kind of like pressing the buttons and going along and whatever, because I'm a casual scrub. I'm just a bit of a nub. But when I was doing it, I was like, there was a key item part to go, and I was like, oh shit, what am I meant to do here? Look, okay, what the fuck? Am I going to die here? And then, like, for me, it was just like, keep going. There was pressure not to fail. And for me, I liked that part of it because there felt like there was more on the line, just purely because I'm not the hero at that point. So I don't know. I really liked it. I did, I agree. It's very long and that could put you off. But for me, being a bit of a lore nut and loving story, it kind of fitted in as well. So I agree, but politely disagree with some parts.
I know, and I agree again. Like, I wish personally it wasn't as long, but I understand why it's there, why it's as long as it is, and kind of when you get thrown into that, you don't know any of the abilities, so you're spending time like, oh, am I going to die? Oh, I got to read the ability. I don't want to die, but I want to know what I can do, and then you're kind of going back and forth. You have a little bit of that, then you get used to it, then you get into the flow of everything. They could have probably shortened it down a little bit, but there was this one scene in Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core on the PSP a long time ago. Again, when you're playing it, you're at the very end. Yeah, I mean, Miz is just as old as I am, I think. So when you're going through the Crisis Core game at the very end, it's a long struggle at the very end. Most people who understand Final Fantasy VII knows exactly what happens with it, and it felt right. It felt good, and I felt like that's what this was supposed to appeal to. But when you're giving a very simple UI, a simple amount of skills to people who've been playing for 6-8 years, yeah, for us it kind of sucks. but the average skill level of people who are out there right now is actually pretty low.
So I would that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about how the expansion itself feels easier. But we're looking at this from a perspective of we have several years behind us in this game. Like I myself have been playing for over 4 years, so I know that as and my experience goes passing each year, I'm getting more efficient at the game. So even when they bring in new mechanics, I know exactly what it is I'm looking out for because I know what the dev team are like because I've dealt with them for like so long and how they've produced the game. So I think if I was a new player coming in, I'd be very overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie, because there's a lot of shit going on. But as someone with years of experience, I'm like, okay, I know I need to pay attention, and I know that when something happens, I need to understand what's going on. And usually they're fairly clear about it. It was like when they were talking about Starboard and Larboard at FanFest. They were like, you don't know that Larboard was L? That means left? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like subtle, there's very clear things that are in there that tell you what they're supposed to be. If you're a new player, it might take you a hot minute to figure the hell out. But honestly, as experienced players, it will feel a lot easier.
Yeah, it feels like everything felt really easy. Go ahead, Miss.
Do you think that perhaps the reason we all hate that one particular role-playing duty, do you think perhaps who we're fighting goes into our feelings against it? Because I remember every time I would see that particular person, I'd be like,
I know what you mean. Okay.
This person is so overpowered. Like, this is ridiculous. This is like the most like anime villain thing I've ever seen. Like, so that, I don't know. I think as a villain, I don't know if that's a spoiler. I didn't like that person as much because of just how ridiculously overpowered they seemed. Like literally the entire time. So I feel like that kind of played into my bias to not liking those duty.
Okay, for me, right? I knew this guy is like the badass. I know Thancred is not the hero. I was like, holy shit, dude, for the whoa, we actually get to use Thancred to fight this badass.
Oh, Arthas already ruining stuff here. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
So I was like, I was so hyped. I was like, let's go, man. For the first time, not using a hero. Let's teach this guy a lesson. Let's go. What can you do? Show me what you can do. 12 minutes later, you didn't need to go that far, man. Like, bro, the badass obviously is strong. He didn't need to go that far, man. I mean, you know, in anime, in movie, in drama, the badass likes to play with your feelings, right? Dude, you don't need to go that far, man. And then for us, the RP character is like, bro, you also didn't need to go that far, man. Like, at some point you agree. I think we can all agree that the fight is long. It is long. Yes. I mean, literally it is long. But I really think that that scene, that story could have been done differently than the way it done. It's cool. It's really cool. I thought it was really cool. But not that long. You know, when the first time I do something, it might just little bit too much. Yeah.
I gotcha. We'll stop it. We'll avoid more spoilers by talking about it longer. So we're gonna go into.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. One thing that we're all kind of experienced too is that they tried to make Fates popular again, right? They wanted to make Fate something that you guys were interested in doing while you were leveling up, or even after you're done leveling and everything else. Are you guys happy with what they did with Fates?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. I think the rank system could be a little bit different, going from 6 Fates to rank 1 to get to rank 2 to then having to do 60. It's quite a lot. It's a huge jump, right? And as a crafter, like I'm a savage crafter. I say I'm a white mage main, but I'm a savage crafter. So I do a lot of stuff with materials, and I know that I can get them through Fates because I need my gems, right? But having to go through 5 different zones and do the total of 300 Fates just so I can get access to the stuff that I want is a lot. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do it the old way, but I'll just have to, grind the mobs myself, which I think is fine. I've done it for years anyway, but the fact that I can make it easier because I've got Fate stones, like, why do we need to do 300 to get to rank 3? I just think that it could have been tiered a little bit better. Because 6 to 60 that's a huge jump.
Are the rewards that you get from doing 300 worth it?
far as I'm led to believe, they are though, because not only do you get access to all the materials, but you've got equestrian rules and you've also got glamour. If I'm led to believe, because I haven't done it yet, because 300 is a lot. So I'm trying to level my crafters and gatherers at the moment. So I'm doing it the old-fashioned way, leaves and gathering all that collectibles and stuff. But so I haven't done it. I don't know if anybody else thinks it's feasible or it warrants it. But right now I'm like indifferent about it. I'll just go through the leveling process eventually and use the fate system, but not right now.
Okay. Miz, did you like the fates?
So I feel like in like every expansion release, fates are popular no matter what. You know, I feel like doesn't matter how you're really leveling, you're going to be doing fates. Like people just generally tend to do, same with hunts, right? Like fates and hunts are hugely popular at the beginning of expansions. And so I feel like the system is implemented in a sense to sort of prolong that popularity perhaps. So it's not so much to like affect the beginning of the expansion, or how people treat fates at the beginning of the expansion. I think it's more so to keep people interested later on. Because I don't think I ever did a fate in Shadow or in Stormblood probably after the first week. Like literally there was no incentive. Like I didn't get anything out of it. So I think in a sense they maybe are just trying to battle like, you know, much further down the line interest. So for that, like I do like that they added the speed maps to the gemstones from the fates. I personally like that. I think it's like way easier to get them, so that you can get like that. Like before you can fly, you can basically get a speed map, and it really doesn't feel as bad anymore, right? So I feel like that is nice. I honestly have no idea what the other rank rewards are, so I don't really know what I'm like working towards. But
I stopped caring after I got the speed increase. I was just like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like once I start leveling my crafters or whatever, I'll definitely use like, you know, the materials and stuff. But from like a random standpoint, I'm like, I kind of like that it's there because it gives you, you know, a little bit of an incentive. But I don't think that if it wasn't there, I wouldn't really care that much, you know?
Yeah. I did see one comment about people complaining that you can't really solo it if you need it to. That's just because a lot of people are doing them right now. I think after people stop actually doing them, they have a system in place that makes it easier. The difficulty level goes down on all the fates and everything else. It just depends on how many people are doing it at the same time. So if you're going right after 1,000 people swarmed it, you're probably going to have a hard fate by yourself. All right. I'm not going to ask Arthas about fates. I don't care what your opinion is. Dungeon wise, this one I'm going to start with you, Arthas. Dungeon wise, you're going through all these dungeons. Again, these dungeons are very, I don't know, doing them with trust. I felt like all the dungeons were really easy because I did them with trust and I was relaxing. Like I could stop in the middle of the dungeon and go get a pizza that was at the door or something and come back and no one was mad. It was a good experience. And so I didn't have any struggle with it. I felt like there were some dungeons that were like, this is a little too easy. Like it could have been a little bit more interesting. They could have done a little bit more to make it better. But overall, that first dungeon, I think it's really hard to top that because it was so built into the story. Like you felt really, really happy doing that dungeon because it closed parts of the story. They didn't do that as much with some of the other future dungeons, which is kind of what threw me off. But being someone who has never really messed with the story at all, Arthas, what's your opinion on these dungeons here?
I think the quality of all these leveling dungeons are better than before. Like I think the balance is okay. It didn't feel like it all felt like you say easy, but there were more thoughts into it. I mean, not trash mob. Obviously, trash mob are just trash mob. You just AoE everything. But like I think all the bosses, I think they put in some thoughts into most of the bosses. Some of the bosses are like, it makes you feel annoying to do them. It's like, okay, here we go again. Oh my god, this thing is so tanky. Why does this have to loop again? Oh my god, like the level 77, that last boss is like, it doesn't even do anything. It's almost like a Bada mental.
That's the one Yashola died on a lot for me, by the way.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Constant.
So
yeah.
I feel, you know, when me and Zeno, when we do all these dungeons, we felt like, wow, this is actually way better to go through than we thought. Because when we look at some of the mechanics they put in, right, I actually felt a little bit different what you think. You think it's easy, right? I know where you're coming from, but when we think about when we grind through it, when we do it, we were like, yo, this is actually really cool. Like you said, you know, even if you don't know the story, you go through it, you feel it, you're like, this feels really cool. Wow, this boss looks like Puck is gonna struggle. Number one, DPS. Number two, maybe they can't do the mechanic properly over 5 times, 4 times, 3 times. So we feel like they add something more to the dungeon for new players. I feel like it's more. I feel it's very punishing for new players. Like I mentioned, the level 79 dungeon yesterday on NA, I did 45 minutes, worse than Trust. JP, I did the level 77 dungeon, it took 35 minutes. These are all new players. I feel like new players this time will struggle more with this dungeon. But overall for us, I mean, obviously it's easy, nothing is new. But more thoughts, definitely. And I think maybe these are things that new players, when they come in and play Shadowbringer, hey, welcome to Final Fantasy 14, man. This is what my favorite code. This is my favorite code. When I see freaking World of Warcraft, Maple Story, Ragnarok online players come in, mark mobs 1, 2, 3, and pull one pack of mob, I just pretend to run ahead and aggro. And I always say, welcome to Final Fantasy 14. Empty your cup! Welcome to Final Fantasy 14, AoE everything. Oh my god, it's too difficult. This is where you start learning. Okay? Empty your cup. Don't use your old mentality to play the game. Learn the new way to play a 2019.
You say empty your cup?
Yes.
Like empty your head, fill it? Yeah, okay. I got you.
Your cup is too full. In order to master the new technique, the old one must be, if history has to be unwritten, then let it be unwritten. Okay?
Okay, I have to say, I understand what you're doing, what you're saying with the kind of doing big pulls and everything else. It feels like the game is built for that now, with everyone having a lot of AoE stuff. But it's still, if you have a new tank or a new healer, you can't do it. That's it. A new tank or a new healer, you can't do it.
Try.
You can't do big pulls.
You can try.
You can try and then lose.
Some healer job can. No, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm not saying you should. That's why I say I feel that this 71 to 79 dungeon, I feel like new players will struggle. If they play it the Final Fantasy way, the Final Fantasy 14 way, the bosses are too long. The mechanics are easy, but can you do it 5 times in a row? If your DPS is shit 6 times in a row, the dungeon big pulls, can you handle it? Do you want to spend 45 minutes in this dungeon? Nobody wants to.
I don't want to die once in the dungeon because I know that's another 5 minutes I lose out of the dungeon. If I just pull a little bit safer, I'm going to save that 5 minutes. Because that next pull only takes about a minute. It takes when you die, you have to start all over again, and I don't have my hallowed ground anymore. I get it. Right? All right, Miz, I'll ask you as a tank who runs if you're running with people you don't know, do you feel comfortable doing a full pull on all of the dungeons?
No.
Okay.
Honestly. I honestly don't trust people a lot. I mean, I don't even trust people that I know. Sorry, guys. Honestly, the only healer that I ever really trusted was Braddock, but he doesn't play anymore. And so, or Zaze, like my niece, I guess, is because he's not a healer. It's funny because I was so like conditioned leveling up that I was like partying with these like, I don't know, like whomever, not you, Ananias, relax. And so then I ran an instance of Meest, and Meest was like, why are you doing like single pack pulls? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you know, like you don't play like this. And I was like, I have been so scared because of all these like random people that I don't know what to expect really anymore. I feel like at the beginning of Stormblood, when I was like just farming the level 80 dungeons or whatever, if I wasn't with Braddock, I'd be like, hey, are you okay with multiple pulls at the beginning of the instance to like gauge, you know, the healer, whatever, or
and they'll say yes, and then you'll die, and you're like, "Wow, I wasted my time." Right?
Yeah. But now I'm just honestly, I don't know. Like I don't know. But at the same time, I think it's just like early as we practice more or whatever. But however, I will be one to say though that I honestly, because even at the media event, I thought I did trust first, and then I played with like Sly and Sophian, and I honestly thought that the trust was like infinitely easier.
Oh, of course.
The dungeon. And so when you add like that human element, maybe that's what adds like the difficulty to leveling dungeons and stuff. But honestly, I feel like if you're trying to compare just doing trusts, it may seem a lot easier, but
when you cheat,
try queuing in by yourself. I'm telling you, I've done that. Like I've queued in again to like get footage or whatever for guides, by myself, and I gotta tell you, it is like horrifying. It is sometimes like it's no joke when you say like trusts are like better than 90% of the people.
They are. I mean, the thing is, even if you don't know mechanics, the trusts do.
Yeah, that's true.
So
they are really cheating. They go to spots earlier than you. Like you're like, why are you going? Oh.
Chat will say, oh, like if you don't know how to do something, just do it in a trust, and then the trust will literally tell you how to do it, which is pretty cool, honestly. Like I feel like that's pretty awesome for you know, like the average player, like maybe more casual players that don't have people to play with, so they do utilize the trust system. But I don't know, like the dungeon, like healer tank stuff aside, and how many mobs you're pulling aside, the bosses I thought were like really fun. Like especially, you haven't done these ones yet, Frosty, so I won't
not the end ones. Yeah,
but those ones are like hella interesting, I will say, because you kind of like, you know how generally there's like a very, very slow like learning curve, difficulty increase in you know, a lot of the early expansion stuff, except for like Shinryu, you know, like MS Shinryu from Stormblood. That was like, you know, it made people freak out because of how much of like a spike in difficulty it was from everything else you had been doing. So I feel like here you're kind of like, okay, it's easy. And then you hit like 79, 80. And then all of a sudden you're doing things and like having to dodge things that you've never really had to really worry about in an instance, which I really like, because I feel like when I was making guides for these dungeons, I'd be like, okay, just move out of this AoE. Okay, heal through this AoE blast. And that was it. That was like, it was like 3 mechanics per boss. And now I feel like they definitely have a lot more stuff to like deal with. I won't really go into it, obviously, but you can see that the level of like thought, perhaps, or like the development for each mini boss or whatever in the dungeons is like so much more than it was. And I don't know if this is like just because of the story or because of the creative freedoms that they have now, maybe. But it is so much more exciting. And someone in chat earlier said that they're actually excited to do like expert roulette and stuff. And I feel the same way, because like people know that obviously I would literally like not even cap some of the times. Like as soon as I get my gear, literally you will never catch me in a dungeon ever again. You know, like once I'm done with best in slot, I'm good. I don't care. Like I will never do expert roulette. And so I have like physically gotten out of bed just to go do expert, you know, like I'm excited to like actually do, and sure, it could be because it's like the first week or whatever,
right,
but there isn't a single one of those level 80 dungeons where I'm like, oh, this one sucks, I don't want to, like, so boring or whatever. Like I'm genuinely excited to like do any of them. So
I will say one thing that they can do to increase the enjoyment of repeating these, and again, I haven't done these experts yet, so I don't really know, but things like they added into Don Meg, where you're running across the boardwalk. You can see at the beginning of the video here, Arthas having a lot of fun with that. It's actually kind of fun, right? It's just adding this extra element of like, hey, I'm doing something that I can try to get to the end faster than everyone else. And it makes it a little bit enjoyable. If they add these little aspects to the game where you're doing stuff that's not just your normal day-to-day stuff, you don't mind doing it because you're like, I would not have this experience unless if I do this dungeon. If it's an enjoyable thing. And I think doing the boardwalk is super enjoyable. I love it. Sprint as fast as I can. If I fall off, then I fall off, but I got to get there.
I think it's what the game needed. You know, we since before up till now, we keep saying how new players doesn't get the chance to learn. Now, the thought process put into the dungeons, the fact that you actually have to pay attention, the fact that you can even use the trust to learn. I think not just, I mean, like Frosty again, you keep saying it's easy.
It is.
Of course, right? Yeah. But for these new people coming in, they're going to struggle. And I think it's a good struggle. Yeah. It's a good struggle. How the dungeon is longer, how people prefer to AoE in this game, how we have all the tools this time to AoE, why not use it? How you should manage big pools, how the bosses takes longer, how you can use trust if you are doing for the first time. You can see how NPC cheats. I think it's what the game needed. So as a whole package of the dungeon, I think this time they did a very good job. Like, yeah, I think my wife would love it.
God, what's with your mic, Arthas? Like every once in a while, your mic just like burst and then like it comes back down. I don't know why it does it.
Let me put my mic far. Sometimes I raise my voice. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's weird. It's like it's not you. It's something with your mic changing. It's odd. But before we go too much further, I would like to get Rogue's thoughts on anything else that you wanted to add to what we're talking about with dungeons and everything. We took up a lot of time. So.
Well, with the level 80 stuff, I kind of went in on it in hard mode because I didn't get my artifact gear because I was an idiot. So I didn't speak to the dudes to get to my level 80 gear. So I was doing it off of the stuff that was on the market board. So I was like the very basic eye level going into like even expert roulette. It was well after I'd unlocked it and did it for the first time. I was like, actually, I was in Tequila's stream. He was streaming over in Haps's channel. They were talking about artifact gear. I was like, wait, you have that already? They were like, yeah. You just speak to the dude. I was like, I haven't got that. So I instantly obviously went back. And when I did the pools again, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Now I've still got to pay attention. There's still got a lot of stuff to do. But it was a lot easier, thankfully. But I kind of had a harder experience because I was a bit of a nub. So no, but it was, you have to pay more attention.
They don't make it very clear that you can talk to him to get
exactly. Yeah.
Kind of a spoiler, Frosty. Sorry, but
I know now, so thank you. Yeah.
Well, I kind of been saying to everybody, do your role quest. When you go to the 79 quest to hand it in, make sure you've got your role quest on and make sure you talk to the dude afterwards because you're not going to be an idiot like me. So, like, I don't know if that's really a spoiler or not, but I'm like telling everybody that.
Good advice. It's fine.
Dude, so many people miss that artifact. I earlier on stream I've explained 2 times. I feel like I should make a video out of it already, faster than Mistake. You know, actually I should this my video. Faster than her.
Okay. Anything else, Rogue, on that? Sorry.
No, everybody said basically what I thought. Okay.
So we have a little bit more time before we get into the Twitch side and questions and everything else. So there's a couple more topics I want to make sure we hit on. We talked a little bit about music, but I feel like we could talk about areas of music kind of together because a lot of the music is from, of course, the areas and everything. When you guys are experiencing this and you're going from zone to zone, I have lots of opinions and thoughts on this, but I'll go ahead and ask you, do you feel like all the zones felt like they implemented and transitioned well? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Was there any zone that, okay, if I had to give you guys a zone that stood out the most and that you loved the most, you gotta give me your number 1 zone so far. And we'll
Every single one?
Based off of what quality? There's so many.
No, if you had to tally them all up and they all had pluses, minus, cons, everything, and you had to say this one was better than the other one, overall, what one would you say?
The one you haven't seen yet.
The last one? Okay.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah? Arthas, are you going to say the same?
Okay, I'm pretty sure everybody feel the same. Every time I go to a new zone, I tell myself, oh my god, this is so good. This is like my favorite. I go to the next zone, I tell myself the same. So 5 zones later, I'm like, okay, yeah. everyone is that good. Yeah.
The only zone that I didn't really like that much, and this is even like, I'm not even like fully shitting on it, but would probably be, oh my god, I don't even know what
you better be careful what you say next.
What's the desert zone? The Thanaland version?
Amarang.
Amarang. Yeah. That's why I always forget it because I can never like remember how to pronounce it.
Just call it Bangarang. It's fine.
Bangarang. Perfect. That might be the one that I dislike the most, and I don't even like dislike it that much. It's just of all of them. That's how good they are.
They don't have a lot of interesting features overall in that zone, I guess. But the music, the music for that. That was out of nowhere. It felt weird, right?
It was awesome. It reminded me of Metroid, and I freaking love Metroid. And so I was like, this is, and also like the east side of the zone is honestly not that bad because of like the change in elevation. It was just the west side that I didn't really like that much, and I don't know if it was like because I was forced to do all those side quests in that one area.
Yep, that's why. Yeah,
I gotcha.
But,
definitely. The mine, not that mine.
The mine.
Is it the mine?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the mine. Yeah.
I will say this. Maybe this is a spoiler, but we didn't see the fabled dwarfs that were presented at FanFest as much as I thought we would. I felt like they're there. Okay, never mind.
What level are you?
79.
Okay.
Cynthia.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it at that then. One thing I want to mention that I thought was really cool. I wasn't really excited for the Forest Zone, Ratika, right? I was like, whatever, more trees. Got trees everywhere in Eorzea, you know, I can just go to a zone and there's trees and I'm used to it, whatever, I don't care. But you go in there and it's like, it feels like what a tree zone should be, right? You feel like you're in this deep forest of insanity. When you try to fly up, you can't go above the trees. And
I didn't try that.
I felt like that was really interesting, that you were locked inside that forest. Because I've said this a million times. I don't like flying, and for various different reasons. I don't like how it takes away a lot of elements of the game, of travel and experience and being in it. It's all personal stuff. People will argue with me for years. But I felt like it was okay in that zone because I didn't feel like I was flying over the zone. I was flying in the zone, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I don't like flying as well. I think flying kill a lot of aspect of open world MMO experience.
But we won't have that conversation because we've already spent 20 hours of flying discussion.
Just link the Twitter thread and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll do that. So many people calling me stupid. But when we were talking about these different zones and everything else, one thing that we did see is Ilmeg. We saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of Lakeland before the actual expansion came out. Lakeland, you're like, oh, this is a purple zone. Right, you're like, it's really purple. There's a lot of trees. It didn't appeal a lot to me at first, but I mean, it's the first one that you go into, and I felt like it blended well with the city that it's connected to, of course, the Crystalium or whatever. Then you go into Ilmeg. That zone was good. I felt like
top tier, that zone.
Yeah, it felt like you go in
super
there.
Super high fantasy.
Yeah, it's the highest fantasy they could do. Even though some of the voices for the pixies, I was just like, I don't know.
Excuse me?
Sorry, Rogue. Sorry.
They literally sound like people in my street.
Oh, man. It felt weird and out of place. I don't know why, because I didn't think pixies felt Scottish to me. I never related that together, so it felt off to me. I know to you, Rogue, it's different, okay? But for me, it felt a little bit off.
No. I agree. Oh, I always felt Korean MMO or JP MMO, Final Fantasy, growing up playing them or both version. First time, it's always the JP version out before the NA version out. Since like FF2, right? Obviously back then we don't have voice acting, but these games are designed to be more JP feels. So I cannot ever, right, play Final Fantasy 14 with anything that is not JP voice acting. I can't. The moment I flip it on, it just feels weird. And for the Pixie part, I haven't seen it yet. Now the fact that you say again, I'm sorry, Rogue, that's not what we mean. What we are saying, generally, just it's just not how it is. Like
feels off.
That's not what it feels off. Every Final Fantasy feels the same. Although a lot of people say that, oh man, but Final Fantasy insert series here, the English voice acting is good. It's not. None of everything feels off. Once you guys don't understand Japanese. If you understand Japanese, you understand how this fantasy character talk to one another, the way they converse, and then the language they use. You know, their action, their facial expression, their body, their body language. That is how an anime, a manga, Japanese character behave like. Whereas when you listen to them speak English, there's a lot of cringy moment when I'm like, no, that's not how.
So I'll say this, and it makes sense. What you're saying makes complete sense. But you know, us dumbos over here that don't speak Japanese and everything, the game is what it is in English. It's nothing else. The English voice acting is what it is to us. Because we're used to it, and it makes sense. All the translations for English, everything, that's how it is. And so it's the game Final Fantasy 14 right now with whatever they present to us with voice acting. That's it.
Take it. Yeah, just accept it.
Yeah. But I will say, and some people were telling me that's how pixies are supposed to sound. I don't know. I'm not that educated in pixies and fairies and everything else.
The JP one is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing, if I was going to go into voice acting a little bit, and I know this is part of his character, and I know this is how he is, and I shouldn't be upset, but ENJOYYY, man, I do not care for the way he talks. Not his voice acting, but how he says everything. Why does it have to be super old English, right? Could it just be a little bit old English? Like, I have to sit there and like pause. Let me read this again. And try to make sense out of it. And I know I'm going to piss off so many people. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. It's hard for me. He sounds, someone's just saying this to me, saying in chat, he's theatrical. Yeah, he sounds like a bratty theater student. I mean, that's what, that's what he sounds like to me. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that, but.
ENJOYYY's B.
Okay.
Fight me.
Okay, gotcha. So
I just don't understand how he talks like that, and like it would make sense if like everyone talked like that, but he literally spends all his time with like, I don't know, people that do not talk like that.
Yeah, it's out of place.
It's like he's trying to be like a hipster or something, where he's like, "Oh, I'm smarter than you, so I'm gonna speak it like this." And it's
what?
But he is awesome. I have to say, he is gay for sure. But there are moments where even I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like, just say what you're trying to say. Like,
I never felt like that when I listen to the. Okay, I do see some cutscene. Some, like I say, sometimes I wrote when I was dual boxing, I do roll some cutscene. I don't see them, but I can like hear what they say. But he sounds okay to me because okay. Let me just pull back a little bit. When you guys play Storm's Blood, right? When you guys see Gosetsu speak, how does the English voice acting feel for Gosetsu? Does he speak different from the others?
It's not that. It's not really noticeable, right?
Wow. In JP, it's completely different. In JP, Gosetsu speaks in super ancient royalty type of Japanese language.
Really?
The way he addresses Hyan, the way he talks to Yugiri he's super formal. He's like the servant type of former. When Gosetsu speaks in Storm's Blood, right, versus Yugiri versus others, Gosetsu feels very formal, like retainer formal, like lowest level, you are my liege type of level. So when I hear Gosetsu speak, I'm like, wow, you don't have everybody is friends here, Gosetsu, you know. But when I hear you, it felt okay. So on JP, it's like the opposite. I mean, for English, it's the opposite.
It was brought up. Somebody brought it up in chat. Like ENJOYYY has constantly got his head in the books, like these really old tomes where they do speak like that. Which, if he is taking all of his knowledge from these tomes, then it makes perfect sense because that's where his life is spent, is in the books.
I just wish the characters sighed every time he talked. I mean, I just wish they responded to that because it's still different.
Well, they kind of do. Like, there is some points where they do that, and there's a couple of points where he goes, "Okay, I will speak plainly," and it's still not quite as clear as what everyone else would be, but he does dumb it down a little bit.
Right.
So I don't know. I laugh because there is points in the story where he's like, "Okay, I'll speak a bit more plainly."
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave him alone for now because I feel like it's getting a little heated down there in chat. So I'm gonna leave it. The one big standout thing with music and areas and everything else that also came out that I see on Twitter all the time is Lahi. Right? And so you hear this over and over again. The music from Ratika, where she is just constantly saying Lahi over and over. You guys enjoyed that?
Yeah. Love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
It's good. It felt good, but it was pretty funny. Soken, he went crazy. I felt like all the tracks felt different, right? It wasn't like, this is like the exact same thing, just a little bit like in a different version. It felt good. It felt like he was creative with all these different songs that he made, and that has to be difficult to try to think up all these different ways to make.
It's not difficult when you're a genius.
Yeah,
I guess
think about their capacity. They could, up to 5.0, maybe they were restricted. This is again, we go back to the beginning. I feel this is the whole Shadowbringer feel. It feels like this is why new players, I think, is like the best time to come in. You don't have to get attached to areas. You don't have to get attached to nation. You don't have to get attached to NPC. When you come and play Shadowbringer, right? This is the shit that nobody expected to see. Nobody expected the bosses, the areas, the music, the monsters, the NPCs. the story that you go by, like everything is just it feels like they're unchained, you know. They just go ham, you know. That's the thing about overall. That's the thing about
Unchained
Shadow.
is gone though, right?
Okay, you say that. Okay. Wow.
So
I appreciated that.
Yeah. I gotta say, Miss, because we're talking about jobs and all that stuff. I really do like Paladin. I'm glad I stuck with Paladin to start out. It feels good.
It is awesome.
Wait, are we going to job now? What?
No, we'd spend too much time if we went into jobs. I think the one thing that I do want to talk about, we're all experienced players with Final Fantasy 14. We've been playing it for years and decades. Not decades. It feels like decades. But there's a lot of new players that have been advertised to come into this game. And I really am interested to see what this game is to new players that have to go through. I mean, they can get a jump potion, but they go to right before Stormblood, right? So they have to go through Stormblood, and they have to go through Shadowbringers as well. And so do we think, I mean, we are all like enchanted, we're in love with this game and everything else. Do we think this game is doing service to new players? Do you guys know? Have you heard anyone come into your chat?
Did they not introduce a new one to take you to the end of Stormblood?
I didn't see anything. Did they?
I think they did. Yeah. It's advertised in the Mog Station, so you can actually complete it.
Oh, okay.
So
here's my complaint. Okay, you guys go first.
Okay, yeah. So, Ms., you've had a lot of people come into your stream and everything. Have you had a lot of new players come in?
Oh yeah.
What have they said about the game? Okay. What are their comments?
My Canadian got a little loose there.
It's fine.
So a lot of people do want to start playing, obviously, with all the excessive advertising and outreach that they do to get new players in. But I don't know. I feel like you're kind of, I feel so like awkward recommending the game sometimes, because I'm like, listen, it is going to be so slow, and it is going to be like a slog, literally, especially if you've played other MMOs, especially if you're not like a brand new player. It is going to suck until you hit at least like level 50.
50 is a good start, but then yeah, like
the end game for some of these things, because then you barely have all of your kits, especially with like the 2 purges that we've gone through now, right? Like it kind of completely like ripped all these abilities from these classes. And that was actually one of the questions that I asked your GP at the media event, where I was like, is there any, like, I get tons of people coming into chat talking about how this like ARR slog fest, even like once you hit 50 and you have to do all those quests before you can get into Heaven's Door. The question was basically, are there any plans to try to fix that in a sense? And he basically was like, I wish we could have another calamity and just slam another meteor down into it and just redo it. Because they know that it's like a thing that is affecting a lot of these new players. And it does kind of suck that to sort of avoid that, you have to pay extra money, right? So I don't know. I would love for them to just offer some sort of like jump potion deal. Like, say you buy Shadowbringers, they give you the option. I
agree.
Because I think that would be really good. It's like such a disservice to Shadowbringers, and even like parts of Stormbloods and obviously Heavensward. Like it's like heartbreaking for me, because I know that all of the previous stuff is going to stop people from enjoying the really, really good stuff, right? And so if there was a way that you could, like, I don't know, skip ahead or something.
Because everybody's advertising Shadowbringers, right? We're advertising Shadowbringers, but new players don't see it unless they buy a jump potion.
Right, because say World of Warcraft, every new expansion, you literally just like, the story does not matter. You literally jump in, you can start playing right at, they give you a level boost to like 110 or 120, whatever the starting level is. And a lot of the times, like they don't give a shit that you've missed the entire story up to now. And I think Final Fantasy is kind of in this like sort of delicate position, because it's so heavily reliant on the MSQ and like knowing the story up to then. And I feel like obviously that has its own advantages, and it's what makes the game so strong. But at the same time, when it comes to like reaching to new audiences, trying to grow as a game, there's definitely like a huge obstacle there that they have to find a way to, I don't know, do something. Because it is such a good, like, the expansion is so good that literally everyone, especially with WoW being like, wow, what it is now, it's like the perfect time for them to grow and like build that base. It kind of just seems like they're not. ready for it, maybe, or they don't have.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope maybe like in a couple weeks or just like in some time, maybe even in 5.1, they say you buy the game, you get a jump potion. Like we have the initial rush of everybody coming in and going through all the zones, all the current players getting through and everything, having that advantage of already being leveled up. All that stuff, they get that advantage, and then in a couple months, anyone new that comes in, you're caught up. Enjoy the game. Okay. Sorry, Rogue, Arthas, did you guys have any comments on new players or anything coming into the game?
Yes. And when I wear this glass, you know what I'm going to do. Okay? Honeymoon in this MogTalk is over. This is where we begin. This is where, as good as Shadowbringers is, this is where the onslaught begin. I think Mythic covered mostly. This is my biggest problem with the Shadowbringer. You were selling it so much. You advertise it so much. You want people to come in and play. If any time in the history of Final Fantasy 5.0, this is going to be your only time. You're going to bring in new players. This is the only time you can bring in new players and you can make them stay because you created a masterpiece. Everybody deserves to enjoy this. Everybody, if you ever thinking about you want to play an MMO, if you ever think about is it time to play Final Fantasy, this is it. The story, although is tied to MSQ, but the story this time going to the first, if it's fresh, it's new, it's like a new chapter, it's like a Disneyland honeymoon period of your usual shit that you do in Eorzea. This is it. This is where new players begin, where your new game plus comes in. Shit, we don't know anything about anything before because we jump around. Fine, new game plus. Or by now, 5 years later, you should know. If you want to enjoy Final Fantasy the proper way, efficient way, most people have an out. Not because, you are try hard, you want to read up. No, because when we do something fast, we can have an out to do something slow. If we miss pre-5.0, we jump on, we play an out. If we don't want to go through New Game, we don't know how New Game Plus is, how detailed, how easy it is to do New Game. Are we going to still go and fetch stupid honeypots in each route before you can fight Titan? I don't know. But this is it. You should be giving people a free jump pod. I would expect. When people keep before Storm's Shadowbringer, people ask me, "Is this the best time to play?" I say, you know what? This could be. The story seems to be deviating a little bit, off course a little bit, still tied to of course. But you know what? Maybe they will give you a free jump pod. I think it's time. I think it's time to give you a free jump pod. You know what? When they introduce Viera and Hrothgar, it is still. I lost a bet because of this because I had faith in Square Enix. People ask me, there was a guy on Elemental asked me, do you think they will give you a free Fantasia? I'm like, 100%. Because, if we get one in Heavensward, why don't we get one this time? We got 2 new race, man. Oh, but how come I think they won't trust Square Enix is not that scummy? They will give you a free jump pod. You know what? I'm going to Fantasia into a Lalafell because I have a free Fantasia. Because you know why? I believe Square Enix will give me back one. I Fantasia into the Lalafell. Now what? I'm a fucking Lalafell. Okay? Right? So
okay.
They should. Okay. They didn't give a Fantasia. They should have at least give a discount on Mog Station. They did come up with jump pod. Technically speaking, the new jump pod is kind of discounted because Heavensward was $25. Now Storm's Blood is $25. So it's kind of discounted. But bro, you should have at least give people a Realm Reborn. Like Mythic say, how am I gonna sell? It's like your president give you this product, it's so good. But then you have to sign up bonds for it. How am I gonna convince my customer to sign up the pre-bonds before they can sign up for this amazing deal? Dude, I want Final Fantasy 14 to grow. We have grown so much. Bro, 3 years ago when I streamed this game, nobody know who the fuck I am. Okay, NA probably still, like a lot of people in chat didn't know who the fuck I am. They still think that I'm toxic. They still think that I'm loud. They still think I'm energetic. I am toxic. Okay? Just in case you don't know, I'm gonna make it really clear for you. So, but from a corporate standpoint, I understand why they do that. Because World of Warcraft fucked up. Dude, World of Warcraft had to pull out their ass classic.
Artist, you're gonna go into a whole nother conversation.
Give me 2 more minutes.
One more.
Okay, 1 more minute.
Okay.
So I think the start aligned properly for Square Enix on the corporate level. They knew everybody needs this product. They know all of us wants to look into this product. They know everybody wants to buy this product. They know all of us is selling this product. They go all out. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants Shadowbringer. I want it. New player want it. Old player want it. Other MMO players want it. They know we will buy Fantasia. They know if we are serious, we will buy Jump Pod. They know if you're not serious, you at least bought the game already. Most of the people that didn't buy Jump Pod, trust me, I've seen it. Every single expansion, I go into a new stream. I want to see new people coming. I want to see new players join us, the community. They never made past a Realm Reborn. I'm sad. I'm really sad because Shadowbringer, okay, maybe Heaven's Word, Storm's Blood didn't deserve that much. Shadowbringer deserve it. Everybody should at least get to hear. So Square Enix, you probably make some fuck ton of money, but please, man, at some point, please let people at least skip a Realm Reborn, please. Okay, done. I'm back to being a nice man now.
Rogue, do you have anything you want to follow up before we go and put Twitch chat on blast here?
I think they should at least remove or let us skip the 100 quests after A Realm Reborn. If nothing else, they need to fix that and take that out. There's nothing of significance when you move over from A Realm Reborn to Heavensward that helps us there, so just get rid of it, or just make it shorter, whatever you need to do to get us past it. If they gave us free jump potions, whatever, that's great. I don't really care, because do you know what? We've got the unending journey in every inn, in every home, most likely as well. So if you want to speed past to get to Shadowbringers, you go nuts. You just won't have the same impact because of like the feels and the story and the lore, because we've had years of all of that with A Realm Reborn, Heavensward, and Stormblood. So if you want to skip past that and get straight to the really freaking great masterpiece that is Shadowbringers, I'm all for it. You go for it, because the unending journey is always there. You can always go back and see every single thing that you missed. And we've got New Game Plus coming as well, which means you can actually physically go through what you missed as well. So I have no problem if they want to bring something like that in. They've got it there. They're charging for it. If they want to change it to give us it for free, I don't care either. I'm kind of indifferent because there is options there for everybody. So I'm not as bothered.
Gotcha. All right, guys, we are going to get into the last segment here where we're going to take questions. If you guys have any questions at all, or just thoughts, you're like, hey, what do you guys think about the way that the main bad guy's butt looks? You can ask. Just give us any questions that you have. I do, before we go into this, I'm going to mute us for a second. I do have a brief ad from the sponsor of MogTalk, Frosty TV. So hold on one second here. I really enjoyed that show. It was really awesome how that guy said that one thing. It got me thinking. It kind of just, it feels good to hear people talk about stuff like in a format like. I wish there was a way that I could just know when this was going on. Maybe I forget sometimes. I know it's like every Saturday, 2 p.m. PEST, 5 p.m. EST, but what if I forget and like I'm just sitting there? I'm kind of concerned. I want this to keep happening. I don't. What do I do I want to support the stream? What's this? It's like in the top right corner of my screen. What? But what if I didn't have the money to do a subscription? If I just couldn't do it, there's an option for me as well. Okay, we're coming back. All right, we're back here, guys. We're back. I figured that was a little bit easier there than to just do my own promotion. It makes my life a little bit easier. We can just go right back into the good stuff here. So if you guys want to support, please, whatever the advertisement was about, anything else, we do have one giveaway, which I'll start here in just a second. And as we're getting into the giveaway and everything else, I am going to ask a question to you guys that you guys have asked it from chat, from chat asked to you guys. This is, I don't know how many of you guys have an opinion on this, but how do you feel about the redesign of healers at the moment?
I'm a healer main, so I made White Mage. And I've tested around with level 70 of the other two. And currently, I'm like loving it so far. White Mage for me specifically is my main job. I have been playing it for 4 years plus. I do feel a little lost without my Arrow 3, so my dot AoE. So I feel from that perspective, I'm a little lost. But everything else is badass. Obviously, I haven't leveled the other two, but I mean, I'm basically sponsored by Red Bull now, so I can go around looking fabulous, and no matter how I look, I have fucking badass wings and I look top. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. The healing perspective is great. I think it's very geared towards higher intensity healing rather than dealing the damage. You do more heals, you get more options for damage. I like that, especially with White Mage. I can't really comment on the other two. They have dumbed down some parts of like Astrologian, for example. You know, everything is essentially balanced. I did notice that quite a lot. And then the pet management side of it is obviously dumbed down as well because it's no longer there. So they have made it simpler and very much more geared towards healing, absolutely. And I appreciate it from some perspective. But that's just because I'm the type of person that has always done a mixture of healing and DPS anyway. I've never just been a pure healer. And I never see myself as just a pure healer for that fact. But I like it. It took me a bit of used to, but I like it. There is a lot more damage to be healing anyway, so... Or at least it feels that way.
Oh, you got a lot of new players who don't know hit cooldowns too, so, right?
True fact.
So... I'm going to start the giveaway, guys, before we ask this next question. I do want to remind everybody that we are only shipping to US, and so if you guys win, if you enter and you aren't in the US, we would go to someone else. And then I would like you to actually send me a Twitch message with your information after you won, or just I'm going to message you and you can message me back just so I can have that, or at least an email or your personal email. We'll figure it out afterwards. Just go ahead and talk to me in the Twitch message here so I know it's actually you. And we'll redraw if we need to, and I'll start it, then I'll ask the next question. And for you guys that don't know, it's a Corporate Plushie that we will ship out to you. Is amazing. I think that it's one of the most beloved pets and mounts in the game currently. But yeah. So to enter, let me go ahead and start this. It should be just exclamation mark plush, or no, it should just be Plushie. Right here, hit create, see if this works right or if it's gonna go horrible. And then just gotta go back to this window. Sorry, did it start it? Did Moobot do anything? No, I announced it right here. There we go. Got it. All right.
Yo, Rogue, we should take part as well.
Go ahead. If you guys win, I'll re-roll.
Yeah. What? Okay. Can we not choose, like, you know?
No, you get the Plushie, man. That's what you get.
Hey, Blasty, is it case sensitive?
We're gonna win it.
I don't know. I would hope. Maybe you should try to make sure. It is okay. All right. It's case sensitive, guys.
Just FYI.
Yeah, like I think it is. I don't use it a lot. This is my first time using it, but we're gonna have probably for the next 3 months. We're gonna be having giveaways on MogTalk. So, at least. So look forward to that. Here's the next question here. I don't know. I'm gonna skip that one. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Was it a drama question?
No, it's not bad. It's just okay. I'm wondering, in Shadowbringers, is there any sort of out of bounds areas that have been found?
Oh, TOS question. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just like I don't think so.
I don't think anyone's really discovered.
Yeah, everybody's been just doing the story, right?
Yeah.
No, apart from like, you know, Y'shtola basically threatening to put you over her knee, but apart from that, it's been pretty good.
You know, I saw this one thing I did notice in the quest, and maybe this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't care. It's in a cutscene here. There's a moment where she walks by Uriandra and she just like pats him on the butt.
Dude, she literally does.
That's the weirdest thing.
GG. Oh my god, I literally freaked out on stream because I saw that. I was like, did she literally just pat him on the butt? Like, was that seriously? Oh my god, it was the greatest thing ever.
It was so out of place.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay, here's another question here. In recent interviews with Yoshi P, he said that they want to do more content like BA. Yeah. Do you guys think it's the right way as opposed to create like a Mythic Plus system? Would you rather BA or Mythic Plus?
¿Por qué no los dos?
Right.
I would totally go for both. I think BA, just BA itself, maybe not all over Eureka, but BA as a construct where there was no way to find people to do it with unless you created this like insane community outside of the game. That is like amazing, and I hope they do that. But I would also love to see Mythic Plus. Like I've been asking literally since the Stormblood media event for Mythic Plus, and each time I ask, I think he's like a little bit more and more like, you know, friendly to the idea. So maybe next expansion we'll get it somewhere about it.
We both asked it in some way or form, and
yeah, like I every time I've seen him, I've asked him about it, and he's like, not this question again. But I think it'd be really great because I think it really boosts like the replayability of the game in a sense, you know, and the way that BA created these intense communities that, you know, people made friends. Like seriously, I look at the Primal BA Discord and it is probably the coolest thing ever, like in the game. Everyone is like working together, and it's something that you don't really see in MMOs as much anymore. And so for them to like stumble upon this amazing thing, to me is like amazing. So I do hope they do it again, but we'll see.
Okay.
Is it BA and Eureka is like the content that brings you back a little bit on old MMOs, a little bit of nostalgia. A little bit of nostalgia is fine, right? A little bit of Eureka is fine before you introduce BA. That's fine. Like somebody say in chat, not too much Eureka. I like Eureka. I don't mind. Okay. Let me rephrase it. I don't hate Eureka. I don't mind doing it, but having to go through all 4 bracket, especially Pagos, yes, that is very painful to eventually enjoy BA. BA itself is amazing. But if BA itself is just, bam, there you go, people can now queue up for BA, then that lose a little bit of that fun in BA. I think a little bit of nostalgia, going down memory lane, do a little bit of Eureka to BA is fine. What I would love to see, which I think they said they will make similar Eureka content, just not Eureka story is done. They say they will make similar Eureka type of content. They have all the feedback. I don't think we will ever go back to Animals and Pagos. I think they will maybe start off with like Pyros type of start content, and then we have a BA, hopefully, like, you know, 2 Eureka like content, a BA, 2 more Eureka like content, then BA, not 4 and then BA. So I can see that. I hope they increase the frequency. But BA itself, amazing. I make so much more friends, so much different social experience than just the PF, than just the RF, than just the duty finder. So yeah, I love BA. Sadly though, it's so long behind that much Eureka. That's the only negative, I guess. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the draw entry here. So we're gonna see who can actually win this. All right, so this is Picky Mickey. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
Announce the winner.
Announce it so you can see it.
Yeah. So here we go. There you go. So if you guys,
there should be like an option for them, for her to reply you, right?
Yeah. So reply to me. Send me a message. Make sure that I know you. Yep. There he is. He exists. Send me a message, and then we'll work with you to get all the details and everything. I'll contact you through the Twitch chat here, and we'll make it all work. So that was the first MogTalk giveaway for Shadowbringers, guys. We did it. Woo! Woo! All right. Congratulations on that plushie. We'll get all that worked out and shipped to you as soon as we can here. And we'll be doing another one next week as well. And the week after, and the week after, and the week after. So if you guys want more chances to win, please just come back and it'll be there. So that being said, I'm going to ask, I'll ask this last question to end off the show for today. This is a question asking, why are bunny butts so nice?
Oh, God.
Why? Do you guys feel like they went maybe a little too far on the fan service for stripper bunnies?
No. If anything, they didn't go enough.
Nope.
We just need the butt slider now. That's it. That's all we asked for.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, what if we don't have butt slider? What if the 24 man we get a glamour that enhance the butt? Oh my God, this
And I kind of want to ask this too, because I don't really know. Are all the clothes literally just strap leggings, or does everybody glamour to strap leggings?
Yeah, literally.
Okay.
So the only what you're seeing is the race gear. So like the bunny Viera gear, level 1. We're all glamoring to it because we like to see the butt.
Jeez, that is insane.
Honestly, so because I switched, I used to be a Highlander, so
Yeah.
Thailand. And as soon as when I switched from Thylander to Viera in my old Maiden gear offending, I literally could not tell the difference until I switched to the thong. And I was like, it literally looks like my Highlander with bunny ears. And then as soon as I switched to the glamour, I was like, much better.
Oh my god.
I can actually stare at her butt.
Oh. I gotta say, I do like Hofkar though, because I mean, it is funny. They put this overly sexualized race in there, then they do this complete opposite. Although I gotta say, there's probably some people out there who would say I'm wrong with saying it's not sexualized.
Yeah, they're super male fantasy. Have you seen their abs and stuff?
No, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, they're. I would say they're
they're furry material.
Other direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
I don't know. I enjoyed it because it was beastly and I needed a beast character. I like playing a character that's
thank God you can't put on that freaking mock hit anymore. Oh
no, I can.
What?
Yeah, I can't. I've been choosing not to because I wanted to see all the facial expressions and everything in the cutscenes, but I can.
You can wear the Namazu head as a Viera too, so you can be full stripper thong and then Namazu head.
That's amazing.
All right, a great way to end the show here. So let's go ahead and wrap up here. Let's wrap up. Let's go back to the screen. So congratulations again, Mickey, for winning that. I'll get with you after the show. For final words here, and there's a lot more. Okay, there's a lot to talk about with the expansion. We're doing just kind of a brief review and kind of give everybody a second to kind of just talk about a couple things throughout it. We have a whole series of shows coming up about Shadowbringers, but we'll get more into that in a second. I want everybody to kind of have their own little sign off here, kind of shout-outs that you want to do or anything else that you want to say in the last moments of the show. And I'll start with Ms., if that's okay.
What was the question?
Shout-outs or last things that you want to say.
Viera butts.
Of course.
Shout out to my Viera butt. Thank you. I don't know.
Okay.
Shout out to you, Frosty, for running such an awesome podcast. You're great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I like my mediocre podcast here, and I appreciate you guys supporting it by coming on.
You're not mediocre. Get out of here.
Okay. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to come back to Ms., because Ms., I bet there's a lot of things that you want to say. All right? We're going to start with... What is going on?
What's that noise?
Arthas, is that you?
No. Wait, what's going on?
It sounded like a dog attacking something.
Oh, the mic. Oh, I was rubbing away the dust. Sorry.
All right, Arthas.
What, you guys can hear this?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this is not. No.
You guys want some ASMR stream?
Oh my god! Thank you for everyone on YouTube and listening to this on a podcast for enjoying those sounds Arthas just made for you. Arthas, last words about the things that we talked about with the release and everything, and kind of shout outs that you'd like to do.
Shout out to everybody that is going on, so much content going on, man, on Twitch, myself and everybody else that's streaming. There's so many things to watch, it's so much to watch, not enough time, and you able to squeeze in this MogTalk on this otherwise really busy week for a lot of us. I think everybody is tired, but glad that everybody can tune in and watch this and play the game. Enjoy, man. This is just the beginning, right? I have faith this is gonna be the best expansion. We got raiding, we got ultimate. Oh my god, this is not even people ask me, how do I rate Shadowbringer? How do you rate this game going forward? Bro, we just warm up our shoes. My hands are just getting ready at the finish. Getting the MSQ done is only the entry to Shadowbringer. This is where it begins. If you guys think this is only the beginning, this is already over. This is already that's it for Final Fantasy 14, bro. This is just the beginning. Enjoy yourself, man. For the next 2 years, it's gonna be a lot of more MogTalk. There's gonna be more pretty faces. Not me, not mine. A lot of pretty faces. Right?
Jesus, Arthas, come on, man.
Enjoy, man. Enjoy this amazing community. I love it. I love it. I'm new to NA. I say this a lot of times every time I come in. I'm new to NA, and yeah, so it's going to be so much more fun moving forward. I hope to see everybody around, man.
Absolutely.
Even though we're scum.
Even the scum.
Yeah, I'm an NA scum as well. Yeah, we are all scums.
Okay. Rogue, last words. Anything that you want to say?
I mean, I'm European, so screw you guys.
Whoa!
Oh, okay, all right. I'm glad I'm letting EU on this show, huh? No, go ahead.
Shout out to you, Frosty, for bringing us on.
course.
Like, I've had a really great time. Particular shout out to the chick that created the role quests, because those role quests were fantastic. The experience we've had with class quests and having the change flip the switch, and they've made it phenomenal. So those role quests, she was the same chick that I think that made the Dark Knight quests. Really top tier. So shout out to her for making that so interesting and incorporating that into the main story quest as well. And yeah, shout out to all the new adventurers out there who are enjoying the expansion, because it's amazing.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. Ms., anything else that you wanted to add before we sign off, or you're good?
All
right.
Yeah, I'm good, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Shout out to everyone, I guess.
Yeah.
You're just like, after a week of Shadowbringers, your mind is just...
Dude, literally. Oh my gosh, it's not even that. Like I've had like the worst week too. Shout out to the guy that fixed my air conditioner.
Oh yeah.
I literally did not have air conditioning for 3 days. Ugh.
It is. I've had to go through that 2 times so far while living in a state that is not great to not have AC.
Like 100? Yeah.
120. So anyways.
But honestly, I'm just like, I'm exhausted, but in a good way. So that's why I'm a little like, can't really speak and say things on the spot or whatever. But I take that as a really good sign. And I am just super excited to witness everything that's about to happen to us in Shadowbringers. So I, like, you know, regardless of what the content is, I think it's going to be amazing. So I'm super excited. And yeah.
Okay. If you guys want to follow anyone or go follow, send your Twitch Primes to them or do anything, please, Ms. Tex, of course, at MTQCapture here. We have Arthas at just Arthas. And then we have Rogue at MissRogueFlame. I don't know if I have a mod in there that could do shoutouts for me and make my life a lot easier. And that way you just click on it and be done. And please, if you like their opinion, go check them out more. They're streaming all the time. Or at least a good bit. Last things to say here, just to wrap up the show. Next week, I know we talked about the story a little bit, but we're done with withholding from spoilers next week. We are going to have a show dedicated to going over all the different aspects of the story, diving into it. I will say over the next month, I have 2 story shows and 2 rating shows coming up. Ooh. So if you like rating or if you like story, we're going to be doing that over the next 4 weeks. We are starting off with just, again, going over that story because it's so good. I feel like it needs a huge highlight.
Let me get straight. From now on, every week, there's a MogTalk.
Yeah. For quite a while. I have a lot of shows planned out. It's insane how many I have planned out.
Let's go.
But yeah, we'll be back here next week to talk about it. I'm not sure, confirmed on the guest. We're going to have a basic story conversation next week, and then 2 weeks after that, we're going to have a very deep dive into the story with Anonymous and Ethis, who are both already scheduled for that. And so if you want to get really deep into the lore, that's when we'll have that. But next week's just a basic overview of everything. We will be doing our giveaway. I'll announce that. If you guys want to know about giveaways, the shows, and everything else, please follow the Twitter, which is Frosty TV Stream. Go find that on Twitter. Follow that. You'll be able to know different discussions that we have throughout the week. I post those every once in a while, and giveaways and show topics and guests. I think that's good. Guys. Remember, be good. Oh, and before I have to say this 100%, thank you all my guests who came on the show. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, so it means a lot to me that you guys said that, even though you're all very tired and worn out from hours of playing Shadowbringers. And with that being said, please be here next week, guys. Please have a wonderful next 6 days of enjoying Shadowbringers until we see you next time. Be good, keep cool, stay frosty, and be happy. Bye. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, there we go.